just like everyone else up and down the country, going about our everyday life. And then our world was rocked forever when Danny, our fit, sporty 10-year-old boy, came home from school and said that he felt dizzy and had a headache. Over the weekend, he started being sick and the headaches got worse, so we took him to our local A&E. Danny was diagnosed with a migraine. By Wednesday, Danny was still being sick and was in terrible pain. His headaches, the hospital couldn't control. I asked for a scan and they said he wasn't ill enough and it would take weeks for a scan. The next morning, Danny collapsed in the hospital toilet. Straight away they scanned him, and only hours before they said they couldn't scan him. After the scan, they told us the terrible news that he had a brain tumour. But if he hadn't collapsed in the toilet, we would have been waiting weeks and weeks for a scan. We were immediately transferred to Great Ormond Street, where an emergency operation to relieve the pressure on his brain was performed. The next day, Danny had an operation to remove as much of the tumour as possible. But unfortunately, as a result of the operation, Danny was left with posterior fossa syndrome. He couldn't talk, couldn't swallow, couldn't walk. Not only did our little boy have a brain tumour, but he had the effects of this awful syndrome to overcome too. We were then told that Danny had medulloblastoma. Although his prognosis was not good, we knew he was a fighter. If you'd have seen him at karate and seen his great attitude to life, you'd have known how strong he was. He went on to receive 4 lots of chemo as per protocol and then 4 weeks of radiotherapy before starting 2 lots of high-dose chemo. But the chemo was breaking his once strong athletic body into a shadow of his former self. Unfortunately, during the last round of high-dose chemo, which was very harsh, Danny got pneumonia and a virus and ended up in intensive care, struggling to breathe. The chemo had weakened his body to such a degree that his immune system was unable to fight this virus. He was put on a ventilator, and 2 weeks later he sadly lost his fight for life on the 25th of July 2012. Our hearts are broken, and to lose a child's unbearable and should not happen. So why are we here? Well, when we was in Gosh, we met lots of families that had to wait months for a diagnosis and had to fight to get their children scanned. That is why we're back in Head Smart and the Brain Tumour charity, in Danny's name, to help raise awareness of the symptoms and the need for dedicated research into this devastating illness. We want every parent, school, GP and hospital to be more aware of the symptoms of brain tumours, as brain tumours are the biggest cancer killer of children. Children can't wait months for a diagnosis. As a nation, we are woefully unaware of the symptoms of brain tumours, and treatments for childhood brain tumours have remained unchanged for decades. Far too many children are still dying. We need more money for research. Sadly, it's too late for Danny Green, but why can't the amount given to brain tumour research be a much bigger proportion, as less than 2% is woefully low? New kind of treatments are needed for children, treatments that don't leave such a devastating legacy.